Alright, it's after my big trip. Time to start fixing problems. So here's my battery moved up into the engine bay. Any lines done in blue bodge ups I did on the road to try and get power to go to the battery properly. I think they're blue, could be purple, don't know. Got plans to relocate battery from where it is here to something a bit nicer and neater. Relocate some electrics up to this corner. Redo some wiring and shit. What I need to do first is just run it, I think, and just test that when the fan comes on, the voltage drops big time. We'll just see if this alternator's providing any voltage. Down here, that's just a GM. It's a standard single wire, whatever, with 2 wire. You put 12 volts in. I've bridged it down there. You can see it. I made a bodgy bridge just to try and eliminate more possible circuit failure points. This is what was on it before. It's a new one. It's a Commodore one. What I think happened. I think when I changed the power steering to the top and the alternator down to the bottom, I think I did something that meant that I didn't get a good earth at the alternator, which means that it won't excite itself, it won't excite and provide juice to the battery. Battery was way up the back. At one stage we did a test here at idle. I was getting 13.4 at the alternator and only 12.7 at the battery way up the back. So there was voltage drop between there and there. Now that could be just because of a shit earth on the battery side, same problem, or it could be because the cable was shot for some reason or whatever. So I moved the battery up here to eliminate that problem, I hope. So that's with this alternator that just takes the excite wire. Now when the battery dropped enough voltage, you could hear the click in the water pump controller, and the water pump was shut off, which means I'm overheating. There's nothing I can do to stop that, so I have to pull over. Then I'm too low on voltage and I can't restart the car. Problem that was a problem at night, or if we were stuck in traffic. So what I want to do is see if I can start the car on this alternator without changing anything first, and just run some tests. Also found, since having a look at something, I've actually gone to 50 followers, so I should do a giveaway of some sort. Probably like a picture of a left nut with some sand on it, and I'll give it to the person who comments most, so that's probably Arthur. Sorry in advance, mate. Well, fucking that does not make any sense. Neither does that. And now we've got a fucking voltmeter telling me that I'm on charge. This just does not fucking make sense. It's like there's too much electrical noise in the engine bay or something. Like the voltmeters are pulling, both of them are pulling almost 1.5 volts out of thin air. I guess dizzy noise? Coil noise? Like coil from the ignition? I guess, could be. Fuck. Doesn't really matter, I'll wait till it comes up to temperature and see what happens then. It's right now showing above, or bang on, that says 13, right on 13, right on the middle. And not really on charge, but before it'd be sitting, while we're driving, it'd be sitting down here just on the very tip of that red. That there's doing its thing. So it's coming up to temp. Righto, Swords. Riddle me this, mate. Showing... Oh, here we go. That dropped. Alright, couple of heat cycles, and that is about where we were running on the trip. Now that's what this gauge is showing here, but this is, you know, at the mercy of my entire electrical system. I just don't fucking turn the headlights on and just see if I can draw extra current, see if I can make it drop heaps. Lights are on. Car is not dying. I kind of need it to die, but it's not dying. The alternator is very hot. Like, I can't touch it. Can't put my hand on it. I'm not sure it's supposed to be that hot. Now, I don't know if that's part of the problem, because the new thermo sits like right next to the alternator, or the other opposite side of the radiator to the alternator, and all of the heat that it pulls through goes straight into the alternator and the power steering. So that could be part of the problem. Could also be why my power steer makes a bit of noise. Don't know. Got some electrical noise in the system. This is the earth from the alternator, the original one. You can see it's running. There's other cords down in here. One of them is the power for the alternator, and they all run just underneath these underneath the high tension leads. So I'm wondering if I need to do a better job of that. Maybe rewire everything to run over here. Take it up the chassis rail and hide it. I can do that easily. Keep it all off the engine. Do the same on this side. Run everything up there, straight through here. Make a nice cover. Stay. It's the weirdest ever. Oop. Zero volts. .1 of a volt. Why am I pulling 0.1 of a volt out of thin air? Well, now it's not dying, which is not making sense to me. I'm gonna switch it off, let it cool down, and toy with some shit. I think the first step is to rewire all of the high current draw. Oh wait. Just made the clicky sound. Here it goes. That's the fan turning on, which is that relay there. What I might do is just I'll rewire the fan relay and the headlight relays up next to the battery under the front. I've decided that battery's getting moved, so I may as well do it. I don't know if there's a way that I can protect the alternator and the power steering from copping so much hot air from that radiator. Move the fan over the other side, it'll still pretty much cover where they are anyway. Maybe I can introduce some cool air to them. There it goes again. Alright. There's ghosts in this fucking car because right now there's no alternator hooked up. .40 volts AC. What the fuck? Gonna tell you a little story while I'm doing what I'm doing. I have to change an alternator again. Been laid up for the last week and a half with COVID. I'm just gonna, before I change the alternator, there's something I want to see. I need to see how much space I have under the left front wheel for the battery box to be lowered. I'm gonna cut some stuff, I think. Here we go. And here we are. So the wheel full lock to the right. You can see me tech screws from my makeshift battery box on the highway poking down through, which means that I am committed to changing this battery location. So that's the top mount for the upper control arm. You can see that rib there is going to be my limit as far back as I can go, but based on where this wheel sits, I could come easily with this shape here, drop it down to here so I can sit the battery pretty much flat on top of that chassis rail. And then if we come up here and have a look, and we can see the, oh, what's this? Oh, look at that. A trophy. That's right. Top 26. That's what happens when only other 25 people get involved. So this means the back edge of the battery can't go behind here. So my plan was to remove this front firewall thing that I've built. Well, that's actually me. I made that because the original one was fucked. And then I think I can actually drop the whole battery down and forward, which means that it'll sit below the manifold level here, which means that when I put my triple manifold on it, it won't hit it, which is brilliant. Still got enough cable to make this happen. All of this can go down and forward and be out of the way, but that is something for future Mika, because today Mika has to change an alternator. That has to work. I have to get an alternator working before I fuck around with anything else. Tell you what, one of these days I'm gonna buy something fucking camera thing so I can shoot this shit easily. Now in this video, that's fucking useless. Right. No, yes, I can stop starting. Alright. Hopefully this isn't the worst video ever. So, a couple of lines that I ran to try and get things to work. This is an extra positive for the old, goes to that to excite the wire, so it just tells you when the car's on, so the alternator will charge. That's my main power through to the inside, and that goes across underneath to the battery to charge it directly. So I'm probably going to have to redo some of that when I redo all this wiring. But right now I need to take this thing out because I'm pretty sure I've cooked that diode. I'm getting AC. Up here you can see the little bracket I built to make this one fit. This is a standard GM alternator. I'm just going to fuck it off out of here, I think, and if I can remember how to do it. There's some of the earth strap you can see just there. The earth goes across the other side of the battery too. Oh yes, remembered the size.
Awesome. Okay, so been out with COVID for the last week and a bit. I got sick enough that I didn't bloody move out of bed, so this is the second half of the video. Friggin' week and a half, 2 weeks later now, which is great. So, oh, hang on. I feel like I'm making one of those why you should date a mechanic videos you see all the time. There we go. Oh fuck, what's that? Oh, another earth. Great. Okay. Why did I put on several? Probably because I thought better than having too few. Which, well, probably correct, does make it more difficult to pull apart. Oh, fuck me. Oh, I should have seen that before I pulled the whole thing out. It's actually exposed like it's been gribbed. It's an earth, so it doesn't matter, but it's got a rub through, which is not great. Anyway, out with the old. So this is standard GM alternator that I think is buggered. Not 100% sure yet. Gonna have to do some tests. See if I can find some allowable resistance values and run them in it. Okay, alternator in place. Lucky past Mecca was smart enough to leave the plug and everything wired up for the Commodore one and run a separate line for the Excite wire for the GM type. So we're just going to give this a shot. It actually fits better, which is, you know, not surprising. I made it fit that way, but I've actually got clearance here, when it's with the GM one that was really tight. Like, you can get your fingy in there, which could become a problem later, you know, if the bushes move or whatever. Alright, let's fucking kick this thing in the guts. It's looking better already. It's coming up. I'll go to the front and check. So I need to rewire the entire car, I think, because I'm still showing 14.4 at the alternator. Now this is better than it was, but it's still not up fucking here at 14 where it should be, so I don't know what to do there. Alright, so this is the issue I was having on the trip. Super low. That one there, flashing voltage, don't know if we can see that down the bottom there. It tells me that it's running low. It's sensing a low volt condition as well. At the battery right now, according to a magic thing here, .13-ish with the fan off. And I just went to grab the alternator. Very hot. Like, I don't think it would sizzle water, but it's more than I want to put my fingers on.